Welcome to the Gavel. I am Terry Ikumi. On Tuesday, the Senate Committee on Finance commenced its interactions with ministries, departments, and agencies on the 2023 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. The committee was disappointed with the failure of both the NNPC and CBN heads to honor their invitation. Now, members of the committee scrutinized the budget performance and revenue generation profile of some government-owned enterprises and were alarmed by what they found. Take a listen. On Tuesday, the Senate Committee on Finance began meeting with ministries, departments, and agencies on the medium-term expenditure framework 2023 to 2025 and fiscal strategy paper ahead of the 2023 budget presentation by the President. The committee chairman gave a quick background on the impact which the Senate has made in improving the country's finances.
It is also premised on the need to reduce government's yearly budget deficit, resulting in massive borrowing from local and international sources. It is this wise that the committee frowned at the projected 12.41 trillion budget deficit contained in the 2023-2025 MTEF FSP.
The Minister of Finance spoke about the revenue performance of the non-oil sector and gave projections ahead of 2023.
The gross oil and gas revenue for full year 2022 was projected to be 9.37 trillion naira for January to December 2022. Non-oil revenue, on the other hand, has been outperforming the budget with an aggregate performance of 104.6% over the prorated target of the budget as at July 2022.
The committee chairman questioned the exchange rate used in funding the budget and frowned at the absence of the NNPC and the CBN.
The issue of the exchange rates, what was projected as containing the budget approved and what is currently being used, what is the effects of that on this current budget? The exchange rate as contained in the budget is 410, and as we speak, we are implementing 415.72. What's the effect of that? On the issue of the inflation, the projection is 13%, and as we speak, we are currently at 19.64%. The oil theft, I was told the NNPC are not here. I wonder why. Even though they are now PLC, they are still 100% owned by government. We have not seen any major investors stepping in. So all that still accrued to them belongs to the government until we start seeing major investors. And even if there are major investors, we still remain the largest shareholder. So they are still responsible to us, and they are to come and explain to us. We don't give that autonomy out just for them to be on their own, but rather to give them more freedom to operate as an entity, as we have in other parts of the world, like the Petrobras in Brazil. But when the parliament needs their attention, they have to be here. At this point in time, we need the attention of the NNPC, and as such, I hereby direct the committee to write that they appear here tomorrow unfailingly by 10 a.m. in the morning.
The committee also interacted with the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service on the issues of waivers and tax credits.
It's eating deep into our own cost of collection. I have even started arguing with this in putting across that any waiver that is given, we'll calculate our 7% and get paid to us by government because
then you are less concerned.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service, in its submission, called for harmonization of the tax agencies across the country, considering the numerous tax collection levels. The committee on Wednesday insisted that the CEO of the NNPC must appear for the hearing. The committee chairman, while dismissing the representative sent by the NNPC, stated clearly that the Senate will summon the NNPC CEO if need be.
We will summon you, we will invite you, we will call you at any time of the day, at any moment, at any hour that we need your attention. Yes, sir. You are limited by our laws passed by this National Assembly. That's right. That was what changed your status. Yes, but you are still 100% owned by Nigerian government. Sure. But what we have given you, power we are giving you, is ability for you not to only be a regulator but also to be an active participant in the industry. That is what we change in your status. Whatever accrues to you, whatever business you entered into, is on behalf of the federal government.
Sure.
So please, you call that liaison officer of yours,
Yes, sir.
and correct that impression or that he has of his head.
Yes, sir.
That on Nigerian Petroleum Corporation NNPC is still 100% owned by the federal government, and you will remain accountable to the federal government and to any arm of federal government that needs your attention or at any time of the day, at any time of the year.
Sure.
And that is why we demand that the group managing director of NNPC PLC appear before the National Assembly.
Yes, sir.
If we want representation by proxy, it will have been contained in our letter. And that's why we have directed our letter to him directly.
Meanwhile, on Thursday, the interactive session between the committee and the Bureau of Public Procurement began with the Senate questioning the implementation of the 2022 capital budget of the agency, despite appreciable releases so far, and concluded that there will be no budget extension.
Anybody who refuses to implement his budget, the fund should be mopped up. I think that's the only way to take out all these shady deals that some agencies will wait till October, November before they start awarding contracts for no just cause. For money that have been released since July, the government have released the first tranche, they have got time to release the second tranche, the third tranche is around the corner. By October, November it will be released. And if you have gotten 50% of what some agencies have gotten more than 50%, because one agency came here yesterday, his total capital expenditure is 9.4 billion, but he has been given 7.9 billion. That's about 80% of his capital expenditure. And as we speak, procurement process, contract has not been awarded. The procurement process is still going on. In September.
Next was the National Iron Ore Mining Company, and straight away a back and forth ensued, bordering on budget implementation.
What's your total budget?
Okay, 3.450, sir. 3.450, 3.450 billion. Billion, yes, sir.
And you are not generating anything?
Yes, sir. Sir.
And you are not producing any iron? And at the end of the month, the total salary collected by this agency is 1.8 billion naira. And the total capital expenditure is another 1.8 billion naira. Capital expenditure spent on what?
I would like to draw your attention to the fact that NIOMC and Ajaokuta were concessioned to GINL. And then when they were sacked in 2008, there were issues arising from the circumstances of the disengagement of the Indian company that it was concessioned to. And arising from that, there was a matter pending at the international arbitration. And also as a consequence of that, it was a case of don't do anything, maintain a status quo.
And you are collecting capital expenditure and everything. Accountant General is here. Yes, you have to know this. No capital expenditure to this agency. No capital expenditure to this agency this year. It's not possible. What are you capitalizing? You are just in office to collect salary and you go.
Lawmakers probed further.
Your personnel, almost about 1.5 billion. The staff strength.
Staff strength right now are less than 700.
700,
yes.
Doing nothing.
You are doing construction of some blocks of classrooms for students in Kogi Secondary School. I don't know what is the relevance of that, okay, to your core business. You are installing the solar light or solar whatever in some areas in Anambra State. I don't know what relevance this, I don't know the relation between this and your core area of business, okay? You may call it, you may call it corporate social responsibility. But corporate social responsibility comes up when you are making profit, okay? And you can appropriate part of that to take care of these social responsibilities. you have abandoned your key responsibility. Okay? Then, no, listen to me. Okay. All these new projects that you have mentioned here, I will advise that you stop further display. Don't go on with these projects until this exercise is completed. The ICPC and the likes will swing into action. We want to know, stop further commitment of any funds to any of these projects, because these projects do not have relevance to your core mandate.
You say this company has been moribund since 2008. Nothing has happened since 2000. That is almost 14 years down the line. And you have been getting allocations. You are not doing anything. You are moribund. The place is deserted. Staff comes in trickles. And at the end of the month, they collect salaries. Why I'm saying this is I want to lay foundation and justification to the motion and move and seconded by my colleague. So that you know that not that we are after you, but there is need for us to carry out investigation into what is happening in your agency.
A motion to refer the matter to the ICPC was moved and seconded.
I stand by the original content of that motion, that this assignment be given to ICPC and Office of Auditor General. I do not agree that the ministry, the supervisory ministry, that's mineral development, should be a part of this investigation, because they have been doing this under their watch. Also, with due respect to our own institution, much as our colleagues can ask these agencies to submit reports, I also don't think this is a probe or an investigation we need to undertake. We should just let ICPC and Auditor General's office do this and report back to us.
But before the matter was put to vote, lawmakers conferred briefly and resolved to first handle the matter themselves.
We have no choice than to carry out this investigation. And a statutory inquiry about the activities of National Iron Ore from 2008 to date. And the ad hoc committee that will be looking into this, among other things, we consider the budget of the National Iron Ore between 2008 to date, vis-a-vis the performance of their budget, the payroll of National Iron Ore to date, and expenditure of the National Iron Ore to date. All of this will be the terms of engagement, and they will look critically. And if there is need for the committee to invite the parent ministry, the other affiliated agency that you work with, to seek for clarification concerning your activities, they should not hesitate to do that. So on that note, as the committee so direct and wish, I want to say that Senator Sani Musa, Senator Yaki Elure, Senator James Manager, Senator Naji, Senator Kwemi Bamidele, and Senator Sadiq, the committee to be chaired by Senator Sani Musa, we carry out investigation on Nigerian Iron Ore Mining Company on the above stated terms which I mentioned earlier, and report back to the committee in 2 weeks.
The committee also interacted with the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC. Well, welcome back to the Gavel. From the Senate, we go to the House of Representatives Committee on Finance, also on the MTEF and FSP. A similar scenario played out during the interaction with the Director General of the National Pension Commission, who had failed to honor a previous invitation. Now, the committee observed unfathomable irregularities with the remuneration of staff of the commission, who seemed to be on an average salary of 2.4 million naira monthly.
The Director General of the National Pension Commission was among those who appeared before the House Committee on Finance after failing to honor its invitation last week.
The National Pension Commission was established by the Pension Reform Act 2014 as a regulator and supervisor of the pension industry in Nigeria. So the core mandate of the Commission is to regulate and supervise everything pension in the country. The chairman and members of the Committee on Finance may wish to note that PENCOM is not a revenue-generating agency and therefore does not collect revenue on behalf of the government.
After a presentation, things got slightly heated as lawmakers questioned the remuneration of staff of the agency.
I have seen your personnel of 2022 to be 14.6 billion from the report here before me. And going through the personnel road, you have about 500, is that correct? 500 employees. So you'll be talking to somebody, then I'll be talking to your ears? No, she has to give me attention, Chairman. She can't say I should ask her question when she was discussing with somebody. She can't do that.
Can somebody be asking her a question?
I'm talking to her, she's conversing with people and said he's ready. Madam, I am trying to do some little arithmetics here. 14.6 as your yearly emolument for 500 employees gave me 29.3 billion. And I tried to multiply that by 12 calendar months. That will give an average of about 2.4 million. Now the question is, this is a minimum of 2.4. Are you telling me that the most junior or the lowest of your employee earn as much as 2 million naira per month?
The breakdown here says, and we'll calculate it together. The same page now.
Page 3.
Page 3. The same page. Staff salaries. She has broken it down. That it is 12 billion. So if you take 12 billion, divide by 500 staff,
by 12,
gives you about 6
billion.
6 what?
No, you made a mistake.
24 million. No, wait. 12 billion, according to them. If we divide by 500 staff,
24 billion.
Gives you 24 million.
Per annum.
Per person per annum.
Yeah.
If you divide that further by 12 months, you are getting a minimum of 2 million.
You just
the
said
question Chairman Tertiary Education is asking is that, let's say you take off 1 million for about 250 staff, you add it up, and then it becomes like 3 million for 250 staff. Are you saying the other 250 staff take a minimum, including drivers, take a minimum of 1 million naira? That's the question he's asking.
Based on the submissions of Honorable Aminu Suleiman, we will be demanding from the management of PENCOM details of their employees, and we want to know your nominal role and details of what is paid to each and every one of them. Thank you.
Now let's take a look at other activities of Parliament, including the inspection tour of ongoing renovation of the National Assembly by the Senate President and the Speaker of the House, as well as the meeting between the leadership of the Senate and the security heads. The Senate President Ahmed Lawan is urging the courts to expedite trials of persons caught stealing the nation's crude oil. Senator Lawan believes this will serve as deterrent to others. He was speaking during a meeting with the heads of security agencies at the National Assembly. Before the meeting went into a closed-door session, the Senate President commended the security agencies for improving the security situation in the country.
We have seen remarkable difference in the fight against insecurity in our country by our armed forces and other security agencies. And we are very, very proud of that. We pray that this continues because we now have momentum. Those who have made every effort to steal our oil at an industrial scale, I'm sure some of them may not be that likely to escape. We want to see trials.
The Deputy Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Sabi Abdullahi, has called on Nigerian youths to learn skills which could prepare them for the labor market. Addressing graduates at an unveiling ceremony for the pioneer trainees of graduate employability skills in Abuja, Senator Sabi Abdullahi says there is an urgent need to ensure Nigerian graduates are more employable, since most of them come into the labor market inexperienced.
There is a lot of civic disaffection globally. There is increasing inequality of wealth and income. There are issues of identities and changing norms in society, and even the economic powers. So for that reason, we also have ecological and environmental problems. There are technological disruption, conflict, and all the other challenges. And what experts have said is that you need to change the way things are done. It will not be business as usual. And that explains why the bulk of the things that many of our young graduates today are being taught in the university is at variance with the realities they come out to face.
Speaker of the House of Representatives on Wednesday embarked on an assessment tour of the renovation of the House of Representatives complex. One of the places visited was the Green Chamber.
To change
The Speaker then visited the committee room, which is being transformed into a temporary chamber for plenary. Speaking with House of Representatives correspondents after the inspection, he appeared satisfied with the work so far and responded to a question on the 2023 budget presentation by the President.
Between August and now, giant strides have been made. You can see that the old chambers has been ripped apart. The innovations are going to be state of the art. We will be, at the end of the day, be proud to have chambers that match the best the standards all over the world. So I'm quite impressed with the work so far. I would encourage them to double the pace. Because as it is, unfortunately or fortunately, I mean, this is not for the benefit of even this 9th Assembly. It's for the benefit of the 10th Assembly. I'm hoping that the budget will be presented latest by first week of October.
2 days after, the Senate President also inspected the ongoing renovation work at the National Assembly. At the end of the inspection tour, the Senate President spoke to journalists on expectations when plenary resumes.
We have the nomination or confirmation of the Chief Justice of Nigeria waiting already. Recall that the President sent the request, but that was a day before the Senate went on its annual summer recess. And therefore, this is going to be one of the first things we need to do to ensure that the acting capacity does not go beyond the required 3 months. But we also know that we are going to receive, Mr. President, for the presentation of the 2023 appropriation or budget estimates. And we expect that the President will be doing that in the first week of October.
Well, plenary resumes on the 20th, pending any last-minute adjustments. It would be interesting to see how lawmakers will adjust to their makeshift chambers. Well, that's the Gavel this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.